A creative issue is reportedly preventing Drew McIntyre from returning to WWE television. Ronda Rousey is set to take time off despite only just returning to WWE TV. Could SmackDown change the night that it's broadcast on in a new WWE television deal? Vince McMahon reportedly gave his word that his sale intentions were genuine when he returned to WWE in January of this year. Is WWE considering a Lucha Libre style show? A big update on an Indian WWE live event set to take place later on this year. Jeremy Borash is reportedly Triple H's right-hand man. Seth freaking Rollins will be missing this week's edition of Monday Night Raw as his filming on a Marvel project continues. An update on where Bray Wyatt is in terms of the internal WWE roster and who are the highest paid WWE male superstars. Also, the Women's Tag Team Championship has been officially vacated through injury. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's start off talking about the former WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, his hiatus currently from WWE, as well as a potential return, and also, I guess, an update on his contractual status with the company too. An update has emerged into the current relationship between Drew McIntyre and WWE management after reports of miscommunication. It had been previously reported by Fightful that there was frustration between Drew McIntyre and WWE management. McIntyre hasn't been seen inside of a WWE ring since the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match that saw him face Sheamus and Gunther at WrestleMania 39 in April of this year. He has been reportedly taking time off to deal with injury issues, but also he's in a contract situation with WWE with his deal coming up at the end of the year and the two sides yet to agree on terms for him to re-sign with the company. With confusion reigning on McIntyre's future in WWE, Dave Meltzer has provided new details in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. According to Meltzer, McIntyre's return to WWE TV is, quote, basically more of a creative issue over when and how they want to bring him back and what McIntyre wants. Per the previously referenced Fightful report, McIntyre has a hands-on approach to his WWE creative, looking for it to creatively make sense for his character. With suggestions of a heel turn for McIntyre being planned, Meltzer also noted there's an obvious spot for him to work heel against Seth Rollins, possibly in a World Heavyweight Championship scenario. As for McIntyre's contract, Meltzer notes that WWE can extend his contract if they wish to do so, adding time based on how long he's been out of action, although there's reportedly no indication that McIntyre has asked to leave, just that a new deal has not yet been agreed upon between the two parties. Adding time to a contract, as Meltzer states, is something that WWE has done before for wrestlers who want to leave the company. So as of right now, still quite a bit of confusion surrounding McIntyre's WWE future. So where do you think his future lies? Do you think he will eventually leave the company at the end of the year? What do you think the reasons are for the creative issues between the two parties? Do you think McIntyre should return as a heel on Monday Night Raw? What are your thoughts on the situation? As always, let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, Ronda Rousey just returned to WWE TV, hasn't she? But could she be set for another absence? Now, an update has been provided on plans for Ronda Rousey as she and Shayna Baszler set their sights on the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. With recent reports that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were set to face Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville on the May 15 episode of Monday Night Raw, only for the match to be postponed due to an unspecified injury to Morgan. Of course, we now know that the title is now vacant. We'll get onto that later on. It looks like Rousey and Baszler may have to wait a while before becoming tag team champions. According to the latest issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the women's tag team titles have been cursed since Rousey and Baszler were supposed to win them at WrestleMania. That scrapped moment would have apparently been a step one for the Ronda Rousey Tag Team Champion storyline. Due to the injury suffered by Rousey, the planned title change at Mania couldn't happen, and she and Baszler were instead in the four-way match where Rousey couldn't actually do much of anything as to not to worsen the injury that she already had. Meltzer also notes that the timing of the story has become an issue for WWE, as Rousey had, before WrestleMania, planned to take a break from the company. Rousey's seemingly recovered as she's now returned to Monday Night Raw. She returned this past Monday, but with Morgan now currently out with an injury and vacating the championship, they're not really sure what they're going to do. Now, Meltzer noted that the original plan was to establish the team of Rousey and Baszler as champions for a while, and then do the actual storyline that is, this is what they wanted to build up to. But now, because of injuries and hiatuses, etc., that might be a problem. So as for what they're going to do next, I guess we'll have to wait and see. The titles are vacant, so there's now a chance that Rousey and Baszler could just win them on Raw on Monday or something like that. Or are they going to postpone this storyline even further? We'll have to wait and see. Now, lots of speculation about WWE television rights, of course, with the ongoing media rights negotiations with NBC, Universal and Fox taking place. WWE has revealed they're open to big changes surrounding specifically the SmackDown brand. Speaking at the Moffat and Nathanielson's Technology, Media and Telecom Conference on Thursday, the 18th of May, WWE Chief Executive Officer Nick Khan provided an insight into the company's thinking for media negotiations. Referring specifically to the positioning of SmackDown, Khan noted that before landing on Fox, the Blue Brand show aired on Tuesdays or Thursdays. When the show debuted in 1999 on UPN, it was on Thursday nights and moved to Friday nights in September in 2005. It would hop over to Thursdays again in 2015 before heading to Tuesday nights in 2016. WWE SmackDown would end up on Friday nights when it moved to Fox in October of 2019, with Nick Khan pointing out that SmackDown can be on any night of the week. He feels that this makes it an attractive proposition for any channel wanting programming to fit a slot in their schedule. As for the negotiation process itself, Khan didn't provide any further details, though F4W Online does note that both NBCU and Fox are out of the 1-month exclusive negotiating window, so certainly anything can happen and all cards are on the table. Now, what about when it comes to particularly NBCU? What about when it comes to the Peacock streaming service and the WWE Network being on there? Of course, it's been over 2 years since WWE closed the WWE Network in the United States and moved its content to NBC Universal's Peacock. The 5-year streaming deal with Peacock was reportedly worth over $1 billion. WWE CEO Nick Khan opened up about that during this same interview at this conference. He said, quotes, "I think with that deal, which was done in March of 2021, that deal is probably the most under-market deal, in my opinion, in the entire media business right now," Khan said. We did it and we were thrilled with it when it happened. We're still thrilled with the partnership, but if you look at the dollars, Wall Street Journal announced over $1 billion, around $1 billion over the life of the deal. It's way undervalued at this moment in time. Obviously, we have a contract, but we'll see what happens. Khan added that WWE started with Peacock when the streaming platform was in its infancy. He went on to say the promotion's viewership in Peacock's early days was greater than the viewing figures on the WWE Network in the United States. The former co-head of television at CAA, the Creative Artists Agency, said viewers were up 50% give or take each year for each event since they made the switch to Peacock. Khan noted that WWE has almost doubled its audience in a matter of 2 years. So, do you agree with Nick Khan? Is that a deal that's actually quite undervalued at this point? And in a few years' time, when that deal comes up again, will WWE be looking for significantly more if they're going to stay on Peacock when it comes to their premium live events? Now, speaking of the sale, speaking of Nick Khan, certainly it's really interesting because people had questioned the motivations of Vince McMahon when he returned in January of this year, and he said it was to spearhead the sale of the company as well as participate in the media rights negotiations. Now, though McMahon has returned to WWE in some fashion, WWE CEO Nick Khan has said that Vince McMahon was committed to the idea of genuinely helping pursue a sale. Speaking at the same press conference, Nick Khan spoke about the conversation he had with McMahon, saying, quote, "I said, hey, just tell me, is this real? Because there's some scuttlebutt out there that maybe this is just your way to come back into your company," which again, he would have had the right to do also, and he said, "No, I'm committed to it. I give you my word." So reportedly, Vince McMahon said to Nick Khan, "No, I give you my word. I'm committed to this at the time," and I guess it did happen. So was Vince McMahon telling the truth, or was he telling the truth partially, but also he wanted a way back into the company? Is this just an element of him telling a part of the truth, but not the whole truth? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Now, could we see a different kind of TV show coming to the WWE Network airwaves in the future, or just WWE airwaves in the future, I guess? The recent announcement of AEW Collision has now taken up Saturday nights on the schedule for most wrestling fans. With almost all of the days of the week now occupied by pro wrestling shows, it's hard to imagine any more wrestling content airing. However, if it were up to WWE CEO Nick Khan, there would be even more a WWE show on every day of the week. Khan said that he would want WWE to produce content on every day of the week as long as there is a unique product for it. Specifically, Khan then said there had been internal discussions about starting a Lucha Libre show. He said, quote, "Ideally for us, we would go every day of the week as long as there's a unique product where we can put on the air and resonates. Something we've discussed internally, Lucha Libre, which is big in Mexico and Latin America, to start doing something like that down the road. This would be well after the US and UK media rights are settled. The synergies are all in place and we have our legs under us with the TKO group. That's something that's interesting to us, especially with the growing Hispanic audience in the United States. We over-index in the Hispanic community already with our English content. To target that is something of interest for us." Of course, WWE has a lot of lucha stars on their roster right now, including Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, and the entire Latino World Order. They recently held Backlash in Puerto Rico, which saw Bad Bunny pick up a victory over Damian Priest. So, would you like to see a WWE Lucha Libre show? Could they even do that? They've tried to revive the Cruiserweight division on several occasions. Is that something that WWE is capable of doing and sticking to as well? Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, speaking of WWE expanding and going international, WWE has held several premium live events in the international markets over the past year, with Backlash being recently held in Puerto Rico, Night of Champions and Money in the Bank being set for Jeddah and London respectively. There has been a lot of speculation about where WWE could take an event next. Nick Khan has actually revealed that WWE is set to hold a live event in India this summer. It's not known if the event will simply be a live event or if it's going to serve as a premium live event such as Backlash or anything like that. We also know that WWE is in discussions about possibly hosting a live event again or a premium live event in Australia later this year. So India, that event that was previously set for January, looks like it could be coming in September, as well as the Australia event. When's that going to take place? Well, previously, they did have one take place, I believe it was around September, October time. So again, that could be a time that the Australia event happens. Of course, if we get any more details on that, we'll let you know. Now, what's Jeremy Borash doing in WWE nowadays? Well, he's got a pretty senior position if you believe Kevin Nash. Is Jeremy Borash becoming to Paul Triple H Levesque what Pat Patterson was to Vince McMahon? According to WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash, Borash, WWE Senior Director of Content and Development, has firmly established himself as Triple H's right-hand man since the game took charge of WWE's creative operations last year. Nash made the revelation while crediting Borash for putting together Matt Hardy's broken gimmick in Impact Wrestling. He said, quote, "Borash is absolutely a breed above others," Nash said on his Click This podcast. "I mean, he's like Triple H's right-hand man." Triple H has previously praised Borash for taking the concept of cinematic matches to another level in Impact Wrestling, specifically with the series of Hardy compound matches featuring Matt Hardy. Speaking on a media call in June 2020, Triple H referred to Borash as an incredible talent with an eye for storytelling and explained why he was excited working with the former Impact executive and the rest of their creative team. Subsequently, Borash was chosen as the lead producer/director for The Undertaker's Boneyard match against AJ Styles at WrestleMania 36, which ultimately proved to be The Undertaker's farewell match. Borash spent nearly 16 years with TNA/Impact Wrestling before joining WWE in 2018, initially as part of the 205 Live broadcast team as a color commentator and a member of NXT's creative team. While it's unknown if he still works closely with NXT boss Shawn Michaels, Nash's aforementioned comments would suggest that Borash has been actively involved with main roster operations under the leadership of Triple H. So Jeremy Borash, a senior figure in WWE. Now, Seth Rollins wasn't actually at Raw this week. Whilst he featured on the show, he wasn't actually there. That's because he's becoming part of the MCU. Seth Rollins, as I mentioned, was not at this week's edition of Monday Night Raw, with photos that emerged on Twitter revealing that he was instead filming Captain America New World Order in Atlanta, Georgia. Instead, Rollins appeared in pre-recorded segments designed to hype his match with AJ Styles for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship next weekend at Night of Champions. According to the Wrestling Observer, that's going to continue on this coming Monday's go-home edition of Raw, leading into the premium live event with more footage from the same session where Corey Graves interviewed Rollins. The go-home episode of SmackDown before Night of Champions is being recorded, or was recorded rather, after the SmackDown tapings last night, so Seth Rollins isn't on that show either. Rollins advanced to the finals of the tournament of the reactivated World Heavyweight Championship with wins on the May 8th edition of Raw, first defeating Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura in a triple threat match in the quarterfinals, and then besting Finn Finn Balor in a singles match in the semi-finals. Since then, he hasn't been on the road with WWE, not appearing on any house shows in addition to missing Raw. Though his role in Captain America New World Order has yet to be officially announced, there's been no reporting regarding his character. The consensus appears that he'll be playing one of the members of the Serpent Society supervillain group. That collective includes another Seth, Sidewinder / Seth Volker, among other characters such as Anaconda. So keep an eye out for Seth Rollins in that film. I believe that's coming out next year as part of Phase 5 in the MCU. Now, there was a report recently about Bray Wyatt not being featured on the internal WWE roster, and there's a bit of an update on this because, of course, he last appeared on WWE TV in February, and we haven't seen or heard from him since. As I mentioned last week, it was reported that Bray Wyatt was not listed on the internal WWE roster at all, which led to speculation on whether or not he is still with the company. Clarification emerged from Fightful Select, who reported that Wyatt was still with WWE. He was just not listed due to him currently being sidelined and absent with an illness. Taking to Twitter yesterday, WrestleVotes provided more clarification on Wyatt's internal listing, noting that he is listed internally as part of an unassigned category in WWE. Now, other names listed under the unassigned internal roster are the currently injured Tommaso Ciampa and R-Truth, as well as Logan Paul and Gable Steveson. It's interesting to note that Ciampa and Truth are the only injured names listed on the roster, which would imply they may be back on their way back to the company soon. Other injured stars, namely Randy Orton, Big E, Robert Roode, are seemingly not listed anywhere on the internal roster with their in-ring futures up in the air. So maybe that does imply that Bray Wyatt could be back soon. There have been reports that he's excited and wants to get back soon, but we still don't really know any details regarding his illness or what he's currently dealing with. Now, this is kind of an update when it comes to Randy Orton, but it opens up a lot of discussion about who are the highest paid WWE male superstars. In 2021, it was reported that Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns were both earning over $5 million per year. In a recent issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer revealed that Randy Orton was believed to be the third highest paid male WWE superstar. With Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar sitting at the top of the roster money tree, Randy Orton comes in at third place. Whether this means that Orton is under the same unnamed roster member as previously reported, who was on the $4 million contract, or is not clear from Meltzer's reporting. Of course, Orton actually hasn't been in the year now in a year. I believe it's a year today or a couple of days ago that Randy Orton had his last match, which was that tag team title unification match. So here's hoping he can get back, and he hasn't wrestled his last match inside of a WWE ring. Now, finally, we spoke about this earlier on. After Liv Morgan suffered an injury last week, she and Raquel Rodriguez were unable to defend their women's tag team championships against Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville the following Monday on Raw. Unfortunately, the injury to Morgan is now said to be serious enough that the tag team titles have been vacated. The announcement was made during Friday night's episode of SmackDown. New champions will be crowned on Raw on May 29. Damage Control's Bayley and Io Sky, Green and Deville, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and Rodriguez with whoever her partner ends up being will face off in a fatal four-way match to determine new title holders. But why will Bayley be teaming up with Sky instead of her partner? Last week, Dakota Kai, as it turns out, Kai was actually injured during the same match as Morgan, according to the role model. For what it's worth, Sky didn't look too thrilled to be thrown into the mix. Nevertheless, Green and Deville will get their shot at the gold at the end of the month after having their initial opportunity postponed this past week. As for Rousey and Baszler, they made their return to WWE programming on Monday, brutally attacking Rodriguez after her victory over Green. Despite the return, though, it has been reported that Rousey will be taking time off from WWE. That time off will likely come sooner rather than later, potentially putting their quest for the tag titles in doubt. Regardless, in some way, shape or form, new women's tag team champions will be crowned on May 29. So there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.